All right, guys, welcome to Flynance podcast. So, for those of you that have been watching and following, we have changed the name, we've rebranded. I have not been great about uploading new episodes. Been pretty busy on quite a few different projects. So stay tuned, and you'll see some pretty cool stuff coming up. For those of you that are coming to my channel from the TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, tips, videos, small short vids that I have been posting. Also stay tuned. I will be recording that maybe even tonight right after this show, so you guys can get the full episode there. So while we're in the process of rebranding, we have no splash vids, nothing like that. So I will tell you, anything that I do or say on this video or this channel is not to be taken as professional advice. It is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. So now let's kind of get into it. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about how I got started. I'd done a small video for a project I'm working on with a awesome, badass group of guys. And we could only have it be a certain length due to what we're doing with some of our marketing. And I promised in that video that I would record a longer version. And this may get long-winded because it's, a walk down memory lane. And like most memory lanes, sometimes there's good, sometimes there's bad. So, pardon me. I got my vape here. I'm going to go ahead and move that out of the way off my desk. And I do have a beverage as well, which I will be partaking while we're talking. So, everybody's got an origin story. Mine has a lot of twists and turns. And I've got my laptop set up here for taking some notes because I want to write down some notes on what I thought would be important to help explain how I got to where I am. So don't mind me for taking notes, guys. I'm a little bit older and my brain is pretty full of investment stuff, so not a lot of room for other things up there. Just like most of my episodes, this is going to be pretty casual, not very formal. So feel free to drink them if you got them or whatever while we're watching this. But I'm going to dig right into it, and I am going to throw up some disclaimers as well. Nobody likes to get trolled. Nobody likes the hate messages. So I'll throw up the disclaimers. You can still hate or whatever down below. That's fine. But, I want to make sure that you guys know as I go through my story, I've got nothing against small towns. Was raised in a small town. Still have a lot of friends and a lot of family. And I have love for small towns. Small towns bring a lot of character. But for those of you that were raised in a small town or live in a small town, you'll kind of know where I'm going when I say some of the things that I'm going to say. Self-made people. I'm self-made. I love self-made people. Self-made people are my heroes. But there's a lot of struggle that goes into being a self-made person. A lot of mistakes that you have to make. Some people learn from them, some people don't. I think that's truly the difference between being successful and not is not that you don't make mistakes. It's that you learn from the mistakes that you are going to make if you're trying new things. I'm not a flashy person, guys, so I'll probably talk a little bit about people that, go onto social media and, flash a bunch of, jet airplanes and Rolexes and Lambos and stuff. And I know a lot of guys that do that are legitimately self-made, hardworking, people that want to show off what they have. My real problem with it is that there's a lot of people out there that do it just to get the hype up, and then to start inviting you into some of their paid rooms and, pay for stock tips and things of that nature. And those of you that watch me, I don't think you should be taking tips anyway. So, be careful of that kind of stuff, guys. I mean, social media is marketing. It's a lot in marketing. So, I don't have a Rolex, don't have a Lambo. I've got an Apple Watch that I love. I've got many watches, but I wear my Apple Watch daily. I like it for the utility. Most of the things that I own or have and or are proud of bring me utility and help me do things to accomplish my goals. So, um, you know, I'm happy with my home that I have. I certainly don't have a palace down by the lake, but coming from where I came from, in a very small town, and growing up like I did, I'm happy to have my $500,000 home. I'm happy to have my $80,000 Nissan Titan out there that does everything I need it to do. Can haul stuff. Whatever. I live in Texas. I like trucks, so I'm happy with being able to enjoy all the things that I want to do with my family. To help them grow up and to give my kids a better life than what I had. I think it's our duty as parents, men, women, step parents, foster parents, whatever position you may find yourself in. It's our duty to make sure that our children have a better life than what we have had, and to set them up for success to do that for their children as well. I'm happy to accept that challenge, guys. That's I've lived my life that way. I'm raising my kids that way. So, I think that if we would do that in this world would be a lot better place. So, that's my rant. Those are my disclaimers, and probably weren't even disclaimers. I just started going down an anthill. But my early years, and I'm talking pre-college, right? So anytime from birth to pre-college. I grew up in a small town. We just talked about it. So I'm going to move this over here. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom for the most part until almost right before I went to college. And then she had gone back to school and become a registered nurse. And my dad was in trucking. He was a truck driver, guys. So, we didn't come from a lot of money. We didn't have a lot of money. And, times were very hard when I was younger. And we had there were plenty of times where it was hard just to make ends meet. And I think that I look back on that and I kind of cherish that now as an adult looking back, because I learned the value of hard work at an extremely early age. I remember going and doing odd jobs with my grandfather when I was, still in grade school, guys. And I would get paid $1 to go out and help him pick up, branches from trees that he'd trimmed, because he went and, he was he basically handyman and cleaned everybody's yard, did some gardening work and yard landscaping and things. But, I've never not worked. Looking back, I've never not worked. And, by the time I was in middle school, I had taken on odd jobs and was working at, grocery stores and things of that nature. And I was actually helping my family pay utility bills from that age. So, when I say that I know how hard it can be when you're growing up, trust me, I know. One of the things that I think probably set the stage for me also at a very young age is, I learned that I was a good student. I learned that I like to learn things. And still to this day, most people that know me will tell you that I'm constantly learning. I don't like to not know things. So, I learned I was a good student from early on, and, I had a massive love of mathematics. Anything math, I loved it. Specifically as it started coming to like geometry and things of that nature. I love things that show a pattern, and math has formulas and patterns, and, you can expect an end result as you're working through something if you're following the procedure. And I think that's what I liked about math so much. But I became really, really good at it. When I was in high school, I actually was tasked to do some research about writing a paper for business. And that's where I actually was introduced to Jack Welch and General Electric from back in the day. I am a little bit older, guys. So I learned everything that I could about Jack Welch and General Electric to write this paper. And lo and behold, I found out I also have a love for business, and particularly how to make a business profitable and how to make the business the most efficient way. Make the business as efficient as possible. So, I knew growing up, for all the reasons that we just talked about, that I wanted a different life. I didn't want to live in a small town. I didn't want my family to have to work hard and have all the kids work hard to make ends meet, and there not be a lot of opportunities around. So I was dead set on moving on and doing things from a very, very early age, and what I did was I set a plan for that, and I worked hard. I started developing good habits, I think, purely by accident, that serve me still to this day. And they're actually some of the things that I talked to you guys about, and it was pure luck, guys. I mean, I didn't know at that age, that you should devote your time and your hard work into the things that you are good at so that you could get better results instead of devoting your hard work into multiple different things that will diminish your results, So, I started playing to my strengths. I started, really focusing in things with math, with business, started networking with the right people even at that age. Found a good school to go to through, friends and community groups. And, that's kind of how I went left from, high school to college is working my plan, and, again, this was back in the day when you didn't have a million people on YouTube talking about setting a plan and working a plan. When I say it was pure dumb luck, I mean, it was pure dumb luck. So, I was very fortunate, I guess, to have been put in the position to think for myself and develop those kinds of habits. And I was extremely fortunate that the habits that I developed turned out to be, the habits that I used, and that I think others can use to succeed. So college was actually an interesting time for me. Go to some of my notes here. I've got most of my notes through college, but I'm not going to read them word for word. So when I was graduating high school, I had started taking a few classes at the local community college in my hometown. And I was doing it because I was also working with my father in the trucking business that we had. So he had developed a small trucking business, and I was working with him, moving trucks around the yard, doing mechanical things, helping with the books and finances and everything like that. And I did that for about 2 years. And looking back on it now, I think it was because I was scared to leave. Not scared to leave because I was worried about, what my possibilities for the future might be. I think it was that I was scared to leave my family. I'm the oldest of 5. I had been a lot of a bedrock for my family when times were tough, and I still have some controlling issues to this day, and probably a lot of that was me not knowing how to deal with my control issues at the time. But I felt like if I were to leave, then things would go bad, and my family would not be able to succeed. Well, I was wrong. They did, obviously. That was just the hubris of a young man. I think I've grown out of that. But, after a couple of years, I decided, it's time. It's time for me to leave. It's time to get serious, about my future. And, a lot of life happened, as it does, between high school and college. So long story short, you see, I was, by the time I entered college as a freshman, I was, already married. I was married. I'd done some traveling. I had already been introduced to some of the complications of the real world. Having gone out and done some things instead of just going right into school. I was far from a traditional student, and I'd already learned the value of setting goals and working a plan. So I did that. I did just that. I did what had worked for me before. I set a goal. I wanted to graduate as quick as I possibly could. I knew that I wanted to be in business. I knew that I also, wanted to be in, some kind of financial field or financial analysis, along the business role. So I started loading up on as many classes as I could, guys. Along with doing that and being a non-traditional student, I also had to work. Right, so I had a family that I had to take care of and pay bills while going to school and trying to learn everything I needed to learn in college. So, I was fortunate enough to meet someone in the town that I was in to go to college, and I'm not saying college names, I'm not saying people's names, I'm not doing anything like that. I'm doing it for a reason, guys. Suffice it to say that this is a historical account, nonfiction, of my life, and anybody who's watching this, because I've got a few followers that know me and have grown up with me. They'll know that this is all true. You guys are just gonna have to trust me, but I'm not trying to sell you a Lambo, so. There is at least that. I met a guy in the town that I went to college who was a state senator. And it was in Oklahoma. He was an Oklahoma state senator. And he had a company that was at the time, so it was a telecommunications company, but what they mainly did at the time was they installed and supplied internet for schools, businesses, things for all of basically northeast Oklahoma. So if you don't know Oklahoma, that's okay, but think Tulsa area and everywhere around it, which is one of the biggest areas in Oklahoma. So they supplied network services and cabling services and IT and technical services to schools, businesses, public entities, and even to people. So this was back in the dial-up internet days. We also created a dial-up internet service provider at the time. It was extremely interesting. So met him. He hired me at the time to work tech support. So just taking calls. People calling, having problems. They're my computer's not working. What do I do? And you work through the process with them. Within a year of being there, I was managing that business. I was managing his entire business for him. I think looking back, a lot of the things that I had done managing my dad's trucking business came into play and helped me there. And I was also taking business classes as well as math and engineering classes while I was in college. So, I'm a big fan of put what you're learning into practice while you're learning it, because you'll know it better. So, I was fresh, I was young, I was ambitious, and admittedly it wasn't a small company, but, I did. So I was managing that business, within a year. And, I think that also was a good stepping stone for me. So as you notice, I'm talking about the key points in each parts of my life that I think was a stepping stone to help me get to where I am now. So that was a pretty major stepping stone for me, going from a 21-year-old college kid trying to go to school, learn, and feed his family, not knowing what to do, meeting someone who put me in a position to not only have a job that was good enough to take care of my family at the time, but also train me and help me learn as I went. So I was very fortunate. You'll hear me say this a lot. You will hear me say this a lot. You probably already have. But I've been very, very, very fortunate in my life. I've been fortunate enough to meet some really, really great people. Those people, I mean, they've undoubtedly helped me to get to where I am. But I've never called this luck. I mean, I said lucky a couple times, but when I look at it as far as, well, I was just guiding through life, stepping on lily pad to lily pad, and I was just lucky one of them didn't fall out from under my feet. I've never looked at it that way. I think the luck was actually meeting the people that I met, but all of the conversations that I had with them, all of the willingness to learn, all of my eagerness, all of the hard work that I put in to increase those relationships and then prove myself to those people and to myself while I was going through the process of working with them. That's not luck. That was me. I mean, the term, you've heard the term, everybody's heard the term, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Well, I would take it a little bit of a step further, and I would say, luck is where the hard work that you put into that opportunity comes back to be rewarding for you. I've always worked hard. I've always tried to learn as I was going. I've always tried to learn better ways to do things as I was doing them. As far as process improvement and things that other people could do as well. Hold on. Amber alert. Sorry about that. I lost my place there. So I guess what I would say is, what I took as a very important lesson, and one of the things that I try to talk to people about, especially people that I am working with and mentoring, is, don't wait for things to happen. Don't sit around and wait for somebody to walk down the road that you may meet that's going to write you a blank check. Those things don't happen. Well, they do, but not to most people that or not to anybody that probably. The future is going to be made by people that make their own destiny. Elon Musk, that's probably sums up everything about Elon Musk. So it's just very important, guys. Don't wait for things to happen. Get out there, hustle, meet people, ask questions that you think are dumb. Put yourself out there. You're not going to be embarrassed. Nobody's going to think you're an idiot. Put yourself out there to fail so that you will give yourself the opportunity to succeed. Back to my story. I segued. I packed 2 separate majors into my 4 years in college. As I said, business was a big deal to me, and so was math. And I kind of wanted to go into the business and financial analysis realm. And then as I started working within technology, I realized that I wanted to also be involved in technology. So, I worked to pack 2 majors into my 4 years because I took multiple classes. I actually graduated with a business degree and an engineering degree in telecommunications. So, as soon as I was graduating, so this will be a segue, right? So as soon as I was graduating, I was looking for something that I could work in the technology field, and then a place where I could grow my career. I had already been working for this gentleman for at the time 4 years, and had gotten a head start on getting some actual real experience to go along with my degree. I wanted to expand upon that, so I I was looking for basically the next best thing to come for me, I guess. I took a job with a software company, Segway. Took a job with a software company that had a national presence. At the time, this software company was not very well known. It was not very large. It was a smaller company that just had a few people at different offices throughout the United States. But I was glad to take the position. I was glad to take it over other larger companies because they offered. So this smaller company offered me a low level leadership role in operations. Because I'd had the experience also along with the degree, and it was a smaller company, so their pay was less, like you can imagine, same it is today. So I took the job. I was extremely happy to take the job. I wanted to continue to move up the corporate ladder. So for me that was the next step instead of a step down to start somewhere low at a large company. Little did I know at the time, though, in taking that position, that one decision was probably the single most important pivot point in my life, in getting me where I am today. I went to this company. I took my work ethic, passion and ambition, and I began to grind, just like I had always learned to do. I've always worked hard. So, I took my previous path to success, and then kept putting it into the newer things that I was going to do. So, started to grind away. It was, and the results were no different, guys. The things that I had done in the past, I grew within the company. More importantly for me, I saw the company grow as a result of my efforts. And I've had a lot of rewarding moments in my life. Being married, watching my children born, those things can never be replaced. I'll tell you the first time that I ever worked and saw what I was doing grow a company, man, that was an amazing experience for me. It was like all of a sudden everything just kind of clicked, and I realized that I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. I was doing what I needed to be doing. It was just a very exhilarating experience. So, I hope all of you have something that you do that, you can step back and remember that and feel how it made you feel to feel a sense of achievement. It was an amazing experience. It was extremely exhilarating. I was part of something that was truly remarkable, and I didn't even know it, at the time, and I think that's part of it, right? So I was in the eye of the storm, and focused on growing, focused on improving myself, improving my team, improving the company, improving our product. It was like a night and day thing. I was part of taking a company, looking back on it, and a lot of people are like, wow, how was that while you're in it? Well, I didn't really focus on the numbers or anything, but I was a part of a massive massive success story for a software company, guys. In 2000 and man, what year was that? 94. Yeah, 2000. In the year 2000, when I started working at this company, we had about 300 people. I think, like I told you, it was small. It was a smaller company. So we had about 300 people, and it was worth probably about $20 million a year. So through all of that work and the eye of the storm that I was talking about and everything, I worked there until 2012, when I left to pursue other opportunities. We took that company that was a 300-person company making $20 million a year, And in 12 years, we turned it into a company that had over 20,000 employees, guys. And when they sold the company to an angel investor who wanted to take it public, we sold that company for $2.2 billion. So when I say that, it was exhilarating and looking back on it, and it was the ride of my life, and I learned so much about, developing businesses and developing people. Man, that was just, it was a truly amazing experience, and I don't think there's any better training regimen anybody could have had. It was awesome. So, you would probably think that fact is probably the single biggest takeaway from this chapter in my life. And I have literally just sit here and talked it up. And it was a massive takeaway. But if you think that would be the single biggest chapter, or the single biggest takeaway from this chapter in my life, you would be wrong. The most important and life-changing thing that happened to me during what I call the career segment of my life was meeting someone. So, it was about 2004 when I met the man that would inevitably change my life forever. He was a high-level executive at my company that I just spoke about. We had just hired him from GE. I mean, GE, guys, right? Remember my studying about GE, Jack Welch. I mean, I was a lover of all things GE. I was a GE nerd. And we hired a guy at a super high level who was helping manage GE. I mean, my company crush, right? I was immediately impressed, and I wanted to know everything about this man. I'll skip a lot of the social details here. I worked very hard to develop a relationship with him. I ended up actually developing not only a very professional, deep relationship with this man, I also developed a very deep personal relationship with this man. We still talk to each other every single week to this day. I mean, he's very near and dear to my heart, and a very near and dear family friend. But I remember out of a lot of the things that he said to me, I remember the very first statement that he ever made to me, and about investing and something that would change my life going forward. And I still kind of get goosebumps when I think about it. But that we were actually out. We were at a bar. We were having a conversation, and his comment. I mean, it just hit me like a ton of bricks, guys. We were talking about money and the company, and then promotions. Moving up, buying another company we were going to be buying, I was talking about how I'd had a really good year this past year, in that time in 2004. So in 2003, I had a record income year, and it was a big year, and I was proud of it. I'd worked hard, I earned it, I was proud of it, and literally this man, instead of congratulating me, he said, hey, that's great, Alan. You can outwork anyone around you, and that is proven. But what about all the people who will double your success by only working half as hard and spending not half as hard, by spending half of the amount of energy that you're spending? And I was like, wait, what? He was like, well, I don't know. He said, let me say it to you this way. He's like, and this is the comment that really kind of hit me. He said, do you want to be the hardest working man in the cemetery or the most successful man? And I kind of just stopped, because I was like, whoa, wait a minute, this is kind of different. And I was, after processing that for a minute, I was like, oh, wow, damn, this this was different because it kind of changed a little bit about the way that I had thought and been successful. So we had many subsequent conversations after that. But again, I went to work. I was a sponge. I learned everything I could from this man, from people he introduced me to, from self-study classes. I wanted to learn how I could be more efficient in my personal finance and how I could work harder for me like I was doing for the companies, right? Because for me, until that point, it was just everything was for the company, and I expected the company to take care of me, which it did. I'm not saying it didn't. I learned how businesses truly worked at that point. I learned how to sell businesses. I learned how to evaluate businesses. I learned how to buy businesses. And then in all of that, I think was where I kind of met one of my true loves as it comes to, the work world or the career world. I mean, investing, finance, in the markets. The rest, that's still a work in progress. I'm still to this day investing. I'm still to this day, buying businesses, selling businesses, owning businesses, working for businesses. I am trying my best to always be efficient at all the things that I do. So, I do work differently today. I work in a much more efficient way. I'm proud to say that my wife and I own two businesses. I'm currently looking at purchasing another. I'm highly active in the markets. The vast majority of my investment wealth, I guess, would be in Roth or other types of long-term plays. I do trade, not daily. I do day trade when the conditions are right. Most of my trading is swing trades. My love is and will always be firmly rooted in the stock market. But I've become very involved in the cryptocurrency market. If you guys follow my Twitter, you probably will notice that. And also along with that, NFTs. Guys, I've got a massive project coming up with NFTs next year. Hope that you guys follow that. Hope you guys get involved. Metaverse is going to be huge. So, I'm not a hater of anything not stock. I guess that's what I will say. I actually embrace and finding a lot of success, I think, in the crypto and NFT market that the stock market had, early on when I was playing it. Along with, any of my financial stuff, I've also started devoting times to mentoring, helping other people learn some of the things that have helped me succeed in life. It's not a service that I charge for. I do that purely for free. We'll never charge, never ever. We'll never ask anybody for a dime for any of my mentoring. I feel it's my duty to pay it forward and help someone like a gentleman helped me back in 2004. I'm happy to provide the service, and I'm happy to talk to you guys about it. I hope that everyone does learn things. So I've ranted. I've gone on a little bit longer than I thought I was going to, but that's okay. I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to this as much as I have enjoyed taking that walk down memory lane. For those of you that have been following me, I'll get all of the construction dust from the rebranding cleaned up. Also have some new intro and stuff coming up. I've got a lot of development projects I'm working on right now, guys, so please bear with me. For everyone that is not following me, please hit that like button. It greatly helps me. Subscribe if you feel inclined. I've got a lot more content coming up, and I would say the best place to follow me outside of YouTube is Twitter at Yoda Texas. I'm on there daily, and a lot of the projects that I'm working on, I give updates on. Until then, thank you guys. I hope you have enjoyed my ranting, and I look forward to talking to you in the future.